Hello, and a very warm welcome to each of you. It's truly wonderful to have you join us. What if the lessons from one woman's life could truly guide your own later years? This is not a warning video to scare you. It's a gentle mirror for those of us who want to age wisely and with dignity. Mistake 1. The peril of blind trust in family. Martha assumed that because they were family, her children would always have her best interest at heart. This sounds comforting, and often it is true. But for Martha, it became the first quiet mistake that slowly unraveled her independence. After her husband passed, she transferred the deed to her home to her oldest son's name to make things simpler. She added another child to her bank account so someone could help pay bills, and over time, she stopped double-checking things herself. What began as convenience turned into silence. The bills were paid, yes, but choices about her house, her schedule, even her health care started happening without her input. Her children weren't cruel. They were just busy, distracted, and occasionally dismissive. She would hear, "We've already taken care of it, Mom," instead of, "What do you want to do?" And because she trusted them blindly, she didn't ask enough questions. The day she realized she couldn't make a financial decision without a signature from someone else was the day she cried alone in the kitchen. It wasn't about money. It was about autonomy. Mistake 2. Unwittingly inviting loneliness. After her husband passed, Martha was initially surrounded by well-wishers. But as weeks turned into months, a deep quiet settled in and stayed. She initially welcomed the stillness and space to grieve, but she didn't realize how this silence began to shape her life. When invited to a book club, she declined. When offered a ride to church, she said, "Maybe next time." When her sewing friend asked her to rejoin, she simply said she was too tired. These were not firm rejections. They were subtle, soft exits, gentle goodbyes. Over time, the invitations stopped coming. Martha had unintentionally taught the world that she was fine alone, but she wasn't. The silence she once welcomed became an echo she couldn't escape. Loneliness crept in quietly, not as a sadness, but as a slow fading of color from her days. Meals were eaten without conversation. Decisions were made without discussion. Laughter was something she remembered more than experienced. It wasn't that no one cared. It's that she'd made it hard for anyone to reach her. She thought she was being polite, not burdensome, strong. But saying no to connection, even gently, is still saying no. And when done often enough, it becomes a habit that's hard to reverse. Martha eventually realized that loneliness doesn't just make you feel alone. It convinces you that maybe you deserve to be. Mistake 3. Ignoring financial realities. Martha had always trusted her husband with the finances. He handled bills, insurance, investments, and taxes. After his passing, she assumed things would continue on their own. For months, she didn't open bank statements, and when she did, she barely understood them. Bills were late, penalties accrued, and she missed a lapsed insurance policy. When a neighbor offered help, she declined, feeling embarrassed. At 81, she couldn't admit her financial ignorance. Her pride, disguised as dignity, only worsened things. She discovered an inheritance was being eaten away by fees. She fell for a phone scam, costing her more than she could afford. She didn't tell her children, unwilling to seem helpless. But this silence cost her peace of mind. Eventually, Martha bravely asked her daughter to help review her finances. It wasn't easy to ask for help after a lifetime of being the strong one. But that moment of vulnerability saved her. They set up autopay, met a financial advisor, and canceled unnecessary subscriptions. Martha learned that asking for help isn't weakness. It's wisdom. Money doesn't manage itself in old age. Clarity is essential. Delaying financial truths leads to preventable stress, lost savings, and sleepless nights. Mistake 4. Letting bitterness take root. Martha didn't see herself as angry, but over time, small things wore on her spirit. The neighbor who stopped checking in, the friend who missed the funeral, the distant family member who never called. She felt disappointed, but in truth, she was hurt, and instead of processing the pain, she let it harden. She replayed old conversations, clung to grievances, and sometimes snapped unintentionally. One afternoon, her grandson visited, excitedly sharing a school story. But when he accidentally knocked over a vase, Martha reacted sharply. He flinched and grew quiet. That night, she couldn't sleep. She realized her reaction stemmed from unresolved heaviness. Bitterness, unchecked, changes how we see the world. It makes everything seem colder. Every silence a rejection. Every mistake personal. Martha began journaling, not to dwell, but to release. She also joined a grief support group, hearing other stories of loss and healing. Slowly, her heart softened. She reached out to the friends she avoided, simply saying, "I miss you." They had lunch the next week. Martha learned that healing isn't about pretending hurt never happened. It's about not letting it define who you become. Releasing resentment gave her room to laugh, connect, and love again, even in this quiet chapter. If you see parts of her in yourself or a loved one, take it as a gentle nudge. It's never too late. Not to organize finances, care for health, create joy, speak with intention, or open your heart to new friendships and beginnings. Thank you for joining us today.